All right, we're going to start. I'm going to start by giving Joe a shout out. This would not be happening without him. So Joe, wave your hand so everyone knows who you are. That's Joe. He's the mastermind behind all of this. So I just want to thank him. He and I have been talking for months, and we've just been trying to find ways to help me get this out to more people because I believe in it. I've been doing this work for a very long time. I won't get into all of it, but it's been 25 years at least. And 20 years, I started out kind of doing this stuff one at a time, doing inner healing work one at a time and energy work on the side, but kind of quietly. And then really it's been the last, I don't know, 10, trying to do it more corporately. And only in the last 3 or 4 did I discover tuning forks. That's not true. Using them in this capacity. A lot of us use tuning forks to try to like entrain our body to a certain frequency. That's actually not how these sessions work. So what I'm going to do is briefly give everyone an overview of how, because there are some new people that I think have never had a session before. I do see some familiar faces, so thank you for being here. I'm excited to see you. So some of you know, and some of you, this is brand new. So I'm going to give just 5-10 minutes at the most, just how this works. Then we're going to get into the session. And then at the end, I will come back and give you kind of a recap of what I found. During the session, let me just go ahead and let you know now, you are free to turn off your video if you want. You are free to lie down. You can sit up. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't interrupt the session. I will actually turn my video off only for 2 reasons. One, sometimes there's a little bit of bandwidth issue, but 2, and I said this to some people before we started the recording, I am feeling what's going on in the space that I'm in. Sometimes people really need to see what's going on. I actually don't. I find it's actually, for me, it's more helpful to not see. So I kind of turn us all off. Don't take it personally. It's only because I'm trying to be actually as engaged and as present as I can. And for me, that's what works. I'm going to start with just what is a biofield? I'm just going to give a brief overview. A biofield is that field of energy and information that surrounds all living organisms. People have been interacting with biofields for probably as long as there have been humans. But that is a more recent scientific definition because our Western world is starting to realize there's some there here. We better start giving our own sciencey language to this. So they came up with the term biofield to describe these subtle energies that people have been using and tapping into for healing for a long time. So it's a field of energy and information. So the energy aspect of it is energy travels in a circuit, right? So it starts and stops in the same place. There's an electromagnetic component to it. Same idea. It starts and stops in the same place. So when I do my sessions, I do them differently. Some of my recordings, if you've listened to some of them, are from a few years ago. And I've kind of evolved over the years and doing it a little bit as I learn and as I experiment and play around, I'm doing it a little bit differently. I now tend to start and stop at the heart. I really do see our heart as this gateway between our higher self, the divine within, however you want to describe it, and the world around us. And so I will be starting and stopping at the heart, which is a little bit different than coming in from the outside. And what I'll be able to do, because I'm now doing it this way, I started doing it this way with COVID, I can now kind of feel where on the body energy can be trapped, which is, it's just a different way of filing the information. So I'll be starting and stopping at the heart. Okay. Second is its information. I was about to jump into that, but I realized I want to explain that piece. For those of us that have been working with this energy for a while, so imagine like that toroidal field, like if you're familiar with heart math, you know, that the largest energy comes out of our heart. So that's the energy, the primary energy we're working with. The information piece, Our scientists don't actually define that specifically, but those of us that have been working with it understand that it actually contains the information that is the story of our lives. Like it's kind of the record of our life. It's truly fascinating to work with. And the way tuning forks, how they play into this is all that information is there. So the tuning forks act like rabbit ears. Maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but it actually allows me to kind of tune in to what's going on with the energy. Where are there blocks? We're going to be doing financial blocks where you stuck financially. So we're going to be looking for those places of resistance. And it's really kind of interesting. I'm going to show you. I have two types of forks. Let me grab them. This one you can hear. Let me activate it. You'll be able to hear it. And then this fork is called a weighted fork. And you can see the weights on the end. You actually can't hear it, but I can feel it in my hand. It vibrates. It's a very strong vibration. So as I'm combing the field is what we call it, scanning the field. If there's a place in our story where we have a fight, flight response, a fear-based response to something, and in our case, that something is finances, financial flow, money, we will be able to find those places again where there's just a stuck energy pattern. And when I'm using this type of fork, it literally will start to vibrate in my hand. It has a different feel to it. If I'm using this fork, which I'll probably use primarily during the session, the pitch can change. It's electromagnetic field. So it's almost like when two magnets come together, they can either pull or they can repel. You can feel when there's resistance. It literally feels like two magnets coming together, and it's like it doesn't want to. So if you hear me saying it doesn't want to move, it will feel like there's a magnetic repulsion happening. So we can find those places this way. I sometimes will say it's like flying an airplane and you hit a patch of turbulence. I mean, that's literally what it feels like. So that's one way these forks are used. But the second way, which I find very exciting, is they can not only find those places in your field, but tuning forks are coherent. They create a very coherent energy pattern that does temporarily disrupt ours, which is great. And the reason it's great is because in that coherence, it does two things. One, wherever it's stuck, it gets it flowing again. It unsticks it. And people ask me all the time, well, will it stay? Does it stay? The answer is it depends, because there's another component to this, and that is a limiting belief. So a fear, we won't be moving forward financially because of two things. Either we're afraid to, or because we just have a limiting belief, a mindset that doesn't allow us to. Maybe you're not feeling worthy, or you're whatever it might be. But because of the coherence of the tuning forks, it's actually an opportunity to slip in another message. I sometimes use the analogy of, we interrupt this broadcast to give you an important message. We're temporarily disturbing your normal pattern to broadcast the message of your value and your worth and your importance. And that is what will keep that energy flowing after the session is over. So I'm going to stop there, unless, Joe, I've overlooked something that you can think of. No? Okay. Let me mention one other thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't want to forget at the end, and I'm thinking about it now. This is a little bit like having an energetic massage or having an energetic workout. After a massage, if you've ever had one, what do they always tell you? Drink water, rest, do whatever. It's basically pay attention to how your body's feeling. We will be getting energy moving and shifting in a new pattern. And typically one of two things happen. Either people feel great, like I have all this more energy, I got to go do, and you might go organize your garage or something, go for a run. Other people find that they might be a little bit tired. maybe need a rest. If that energy that you've now released wants to do some internal work, then let your body do that. So just everyone's responses can be a little bit different. You know, do you have that get up and go yang energy released, or do you have that yin energy that wants to kind of go more internal and maybe heal something that hadn't had the chance to heal? So just be mindful of that. Again, drink water, be kind to yourself. You will have a new normal. Some people notice things right away. Some people, it might be a week or two or a month later, they realize, wow, I haven't had that thought, or I haven't had that emotional response, or I'm not triggered, or all of a sudden something that had previously been elusive is now entered into their life. Like it just, again, sometimes it's dramatic and sometimes it's very subtle, but the work is done. And everyone's response is going to be just a little bit different, because we're all unique. So Joe, I'm going to let you tell me if I missed anything.
No, you completely, I think you summed up everything in terms of expectations to have. Do you want to talk about intentions a little bit?
Yes, that was going to be the start of a session. So if you've ever done a one-on-one session or listened to one of my recordings, I always like to frame up what the session is about, because every thought we have or mindset we have actually organizes the energy around us differently. It's really kind of a neat phenomenon. So we always frame it up so that we get the energy pattern we want, that we get the energy pattern that we're looking for, the breakthrough that we're looking for. So this session is going to be about restoring financial flow. I think we called it money breakthrough. No, what did we call it? Busting through money stories or something like that. Either way, we're going to be looking in your field for those places where there is either a limiting mindset regarding wealth and finance, or where there's a part of you stuck in a fight flight response. Either one of those can be putting blocks or barriers or hiccups in the financial flow that we want. So that's the intention for this session. And unless there's anything else, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'm excited. It should be about an hour. So expect for about an hour. And then we'll come back at the end and recap. So I'm going to turn off my video. Again, whatever you're comfortable, you can keep it on, you can turn it off, your call. I won't be offended if you turn your video off, and please don't be offended when I turn mine off. Let me do that now. Let me grab one other thing. Hold on, I moved my forks. And some of you know this too. I'm going to I'm going to quickly recap that this is a session on financial flow, restoring that flow back into our life. Because the reality is, like when I work, one of the things I love about working with this is I get to see and tap into and feel the power, the beauty, the limitlessness that we all have. Like it's that aspect of this work is so fun for me, because, you know, I just get to see that. And when you tap into that, you realize, oh my gosh, this is the most priceless thing on the planet. Like there's nothing more valuable and more priceless than who we are. In fact, years ago, I had this dream, and in this dream, I think I told you I was having an encounter with God, and it was I want you to create rocks with the letter U on it. And I'm going to get started while I tell stories. I tell stories because it's all about identity, and it's about letting us know who we truly are. But I was told in this dream to create rocks with the letter U on it. And I pushed back. I thought that is the most ridiculous thing. Like the world does not need one more novelty item that's going to end up in a junk drawer. And keep in mind, I was an engineer by training, and I thought that was more valuable. And this God basically was like, Margaret, there's nothing more valuable than the human heart. There is nothing more valuable than unlocking who people are and who you are. And I woke up from that encounter, and I literally went and tried to figure out how to sandblast use into rocks. My kids know this. Bought etchers. I did all kinds of stuff. I painted it and created all these little U rocks. And even now, some people know I use the expression rocked up all the time because it's very meaningful to me. Because when I say rocked up, to me, it is a combination of stepping into our true identity, but it's also a way to remind me of my U-Rock experience. And so there is nothing more valuable than who you are. No one or no thing is more valuable than that divine essence that is inside of each one of us. It's just powerful. It's beautiful. It's really fun for me, actually, because you guys are bringing corporate energy together. And this session feels very different than my normal session. In an amazing way. Some people know, like I've been on groups calls with a lot of you, and some of us know that when we come together corporately, we can really carry people farther. And we each kind of get a piece. And I can already tell that that's happening. This is really exciting. So what I'm doing now is I always start with the heart because it is a gateway. It is, I see it as a doorway between like that divine oneness, essence. I don't even know how to describe it. I see it as this living pool of like liquid energy. It can be formed into anything. It's like the life source of everything it touches. And it's really fun to be there. But I always start there. And then my goal is to open up, like to get our heart to open up, to let this essence of who we are out. And sometimes the heart, a lot of us are taught the heart is weak, the heart is can't be trusted, whatever it is. So I start with the heart to just let the heart know this is a good thing. This is a valuable thing. This is an important role, and like to give it the freedom and the permission to open. And then from there, I've discovered we really do, just like we have a pericardium in the physical, we have an energetic pericardium. And for some people, it can be like a wall. For others, a filter. And for some of us, none. And actually, it's flowing really well. I've just learned to check that out because it's almost like you can open your door, but then you might have a storm door, you know? And we want to make sure both are open. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to check the energy in different directions. I'm going to check it from the heart. I call it ascending energy. When you think of a toroidal field, think of an apple. You know, you've got the core, but then you've got, you know, this toroidal field around it. So I'm going to start at the heart, but I'm going to go up to the top and kind of around the outside. but then back up the core, back to the heart. And I'm just looking for those places where, I think I told you, where there's either a fear-based response when we think about finances, when we think about money, where, like, where are they, where is it blocked? Because these sessions are all about, like, I've shared this with some of you before, they're retrieving parts of you that have just been stuck in its own little experience. Kind of a fear-based, I sometimes call them thought eddies or experience eddies. Like in the field, it can literally feel like the energy is just swirling. It can feel like they're just stopped. And what we want to do is go in, and it's you. It's you coming out of your heart, and it's about you receiving back to yourself. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving up. So as soon the first real kind of resistance, there's been a few little bumpies, but the first one is kind of here at the head, which isn't surprising. A lot of us tend to overthink things. And the beauty of these forks is that most of the time I can usually just hold it here. I don't necessarily have to figure out what's going on. I used to try to do that, but then I realized it actually isn't necessary for healing. I use the analogy a lot. If I'm walking down the street and I see that you've fallen, you know, I don't sit there and ask you, well, how'd you get there? What happened? You know, what was the weather like? I don't need to know that to help you. I can just help you, you know, pick you up and get you back on your feet. So what I'm doing is, like I said, I'm kind of doing the ascending energy. Having said that, sometimes I just can't help it, and I pick up on what it is. Like this almost feels like it's weird. It seems like a contradiction, but it's almost like a fear of being successful, a fear of being too big. Like, what if? Oh my gosh! Like, what if the dog catches the car? You know, what do I do with it? What would I do? Can I trust myself with it? The answer is yes, you can. In fact, I believe everyone on this planet was born to be big, to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. So it is absolutely not only good to be seen and valued and whatever, but it is like the world needs it. The world needs it. Yeah, I can feel there's just the fourth way. I didn't describe this in this session. The fourth way I feel stuff is, or know what's going on is, yes, I use the tuning forks, but I also will hear things or see things or even feel things in my body that tell me what is going on. And in this case, I'm just feeling like some fluttering in my heart, like just a little, some anxiety. So all I have to do is hold it there. And then if I need to tell it a new story, I will. So this feels like a, I'm actually going to use a different fork. You're not going to hear this one. this almost feels like a, I'm just hearing a voice about the need to be humble. And I'm just going to say, you know what, there's a place for showing deference and for showing honor, but we're all we're all meant to be these powerful, seen, like there's a light inside of you that only you have, and the world needs it. And so this isn't something to be humble about, like it is. Like I think about how, you know, we just need you to be you. We need you to be you in all your glory, literally. So I'm just holding it here and I'm waiting to feel it. It's almost like, have you ever like hugged someone else and just, they just release? You're just kind of holding it until you feel the release. And then sometimes I realize what I need to do is actually just maybe jump ahead a little bit, but here it feels like I just need to hold it to the release. Because sometimes we're hitting a spot. I'll see if I can describe this well. Sometimes we're hitting just a little spot, and you just need to let that happen. Sometimes you're finding what I sometimes refer to as like a traffic jam, like a backup. You know, maybe you've hit a mile-long backup. And so in those cases, what you need to do is, I find it's better to kind of jump ahead, clear out the accident, if you will, and then the energy will start to flow. Okay. So that was right at the crown, by the way. That was right where it's that decision. Do I step out or into the world, so to speak, or do I stay here? And but it shifted. I'm just getting the most beautiful picture in my head. It's it literally, it's like, no, it's just like people standing up high on a mountaintop, but it's like I'm just watching this line of people, like we're all helping each other get to the top. It's really just a beautiful kind of cooperative effort. Okay, so now I'm working on think of the toroidal field, at that apple again. I'm now going to be working kind of in the fleshy part, and then I'll come back to the core. So when I do this, remember that energy goes up and around, but as it goes up, but then it starts to descend. So this is now descending energy. And the reason I make that distinction is because what I've learned is they will have different connotations attached to them, different meanings attached to them. I've just kind of learned that over the years. Like with ascending energy, it's often about being big. It's often about being seen, being known. Not always, but often. And then with descending energy, it's about being small, you know, or diminishing or decreasing. So it's interesting because it's back at the crown again. So I'm noticing there's another little like resistance. This is now the descending energy, but it's also at the crown. So when that happens, I kind of put a little marker there to remind myself to go back and check the crown energy specifically and see if there's something going on there. But I'm going to actually keep, that's an example of, I'm actually going to keep going, because sometimes as you smooth out stuff upstream, so to speak, it will impact downstream. So I'm hitting another spot kind of, I don't know, adjacent to the solar plexus. I'm not sure what it is, but that's okay. Actually, it just gave. So I see that's a good example where you don't have to know the story. I'm starting to try to dive into it, but then I didn't have to. It's just, there's just a little bit, like I said, a little bit of headwind, a little bit of resistance, but not a lot, which is nice. We sometimes call this combing the field, because it is similar to like combing out tangles. You know, you just, you know, sometimes it's really just giving your creating coherence in your field, just to slip in that new message. Oops. Which is the message. It's always comes back to the message of identity. It's going to be the message of your value and your worth. And that, okay, so there's something here at your feet. But it really, it's, when I do these sessions, what I realize is it doesn't have to be anything dramatic at all. It can be something, a little throwaway comment someone said in childhood, and then all of a sudden, if you own it, if you receive it, good or bad, you know, it can create little hiccups, and you think, oh my gosh, it's nothing, but to that part of you, it was a big deal. So again, I'm back to, sometimes there's blocks because of fear, and sometimes it's just a limiting belief. Okay, so now I'm back to the ascending energy, and this is as I get to like back to our body, the doorway at our feet. There's resistance here. So let me see what that needs. Actually, I you know what? I'm actually going to put a block here. There's something, I put a marker here. I mean, feet and head and hands, those are all types of gateways into our physical body. And for whatever reason, there was just something there that didn't want us to enter in. Well, don't worry, we're not going to leave it like that. But I'm going to work on this first. So I tell this story a lot, and I'm going to tell it here because I feel like I'm supposed to. You know, imagine our heart is like your house, and there you've got a family of people in there, but it's you. It's like little mini me's, right? And every moment you know, you're leaving your house and you're going out to explore the world. Like a part of you might be, I want to go make friends. I want to go try something new. I want to go learn a new hobby or whatever it is. You know, and a part of you is like, I want to go make money or whatever it is that you want to do. And it's going out, it's coming around, it's experiencing life, it's having an experience. But let's say it, in this case, we'll use finances. Let's say it was, I'm going to go make money. And let's say it just didn't happen. It's time to come home. And that part of you might be like, well, I didn't accomplish what I wanted. So maybe it decides it's going to stay away. Or maybe you, because we do tend to do this sometimes, maybe you said, no, don't come back until you've done what you set out to do. For whatever reason, that part of you that you set an intention to have accomplished, you went out to accomplish it and it didn't happen. That is part of how this energy can get kind of stuck outside of your core. What we're trying to do with all of this is bring all of these parts of you back into the present moment, back into your core self, back into your heart is what we're trying to do. And our heart is this, I kind of come up with fun names for it sometimes. I call it like a cauldron of divine oneness. Like it's just this beautiful place where it's just this fire that it can transmute. And so whatever it can clean up, it's like invite yourself back into your home, the home of your heart, because in this home, it doesn't matter what happened to you. Like it can get washed off, it can get cleaned, it can get restored. And then rather than being traumatized by it, it's actually, it actually grows in wisdom and an understanding. And then you get to try again. You get to try again the next day. Say, you know what, that didn't quite work out, but it's okay. I love this part of me that tried it. And let's try again, or let's try something different. But the key is, this is all about restoring you to you. The core you of this moment with the little part of you that got stuck. So I'm working my way up the body. There was a little bit at the knees. There was a little bit kind of at the root, and I'm now at the sacral area, and it's moving. It's just, it's definitely moving. And I'm going to go back to the crown and the feet. Those are the only two places I kind of have markers. If you've done a session with me where I've done it out in the field, it's done chronologically. People ask, how is information stored? Well, you can store it alphabetically, you can store it chronologically, you can store it however you want. In this case, when I do it this way, I'm realizing we can categorize the information based on where in the body it's impacting or stuck. Like it, just because something's at your legs, it could be impacting your head or anything else. But it's just a different way of organizing it. So now I'm back at the heart. I'm going to actually go down the other way, start with the descending energy. So starting at the heart, I'm going to go down and then around and then back down from the crown. So I'm hearing money is the root of all evil. And so that's a mindset. That would be a limiting mindset. So we're here to say absolutely not. Money is a tool. Money is something that is created. Money is actually meant to be a, I'll say servant. It's meant to be a tool. It's not evil. It's not evil at all. not inherently evil. I do make a distinction between judging something as good and bad versus something being inherently good. Like we are inherently good beings. I don't need to sit there and try to prove I'm good or prove I'm bad, because trying to prove something creates a fear-based response. So we want to drop all judgments we have against money and just say money is not inherently bad, or I'm sorry, money is not bad or good. Money is a tool. Money is here to serve us. Okay, so some people know this about me. I'm having a conversation with money in my head right now. I know that sounds a little strange, but I personify things all the time, only because in my experience, things are living. Things are, things are alive. Like things we take for granted actually have a sentience that we can tap into, and it really is. I'm just hearing this voice, and it's really like, please restore. I'll just tell you what I'm hearing. Please restore my reputation is what I'm hearing. Like it wants to serve, back to money, it wants to serve people who really understand that it's not evil, that it is powerful, and not to put ourselves under the government, if you will, under the authority of money, that it was never meant to serve in that capacity. That money has been used as a tool by others wanting to create a hierarchical system, but money itself is not doing that. So it's weird. This sounds silly, but it's like valuing money. So we have an opportunity here to choose to value money in its role as a tool, as something meant to help us, as something meant to aid us, as something that wants to serve us, and not be, it doesn't want us to serve money, but money to serve us. So it's almost like encouraging us to say, hey, step into your authority here as a human, step into your authority, and be who you're meant to be. Step into your worth, step into your value, step into your importance. And I know a lot of us are, by the way, are doing this already, but there's clearly parts of us that haven't gotten the memo yet, that are still trying to work it out. Like we know this, but then there are just parts of us that don't know it. Parts of us that have been offline, that just never heard, never got the message of who they are. So I'm working my way down, by the way. I'm now kind of at the legs, and it's a pretty strong resistance here at the legs. In fact, I'm getting, I just got like a, I don't know, how do I describe it? It's maybe a fear of stepping into the future, stepping into, let's see, let me see if it's right or left. I don't always have to figure that out. It's the right side. It's our right leg. Let's see. Legs are all, the energy in the legs is all about stepping forward, moving forward. These are generalizations, but the left side tends to be strings to the past that kind of hold you back. The right side tends to organize the energy along the lines of a fear of the future, like more like a wall. You know, so you either have a wall keeping you from going forward, or you have a string or a tether kind of pulling you back. In this case, it's more a fear of the future. In fact, it feels pretty intense. I'm going to switch forks. Use that one that you can't hear again. Yeah, this doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. I think I told you, sometimes I can hear the pitch change. Sometimes I can hear it'll change the way it makes a sound. Sometimes I feel the vibration, and sometimes I feel it in my body. And sometimes I hear and see things. I'm doing all of those at the same time. My right leg, just all of this, when I first hit that spot, just as soon as I got onto the leg, I just felt this shot of energy down my right leg, or both legs, but mainly on the right. And then all of a sudden my knee started throbbing. Like doesn't happen often. Used to happen a lot, but and then I felt this strong, like headwind, or I mentioned the magnetic repulsion. Like it just didn't want me to go this way. So I think we're tapping into a corporate fear of future finances, is what this is feeling like to me. I don't know what the future is going to hold. And this is making me really nervous, and I'm afraid to move forward and step in this direction. But I'm just going to work my way through it. What I'm going to do is, like when you're sweeping, just think of yourself sweeping a floor. Go ahead and sweep it, and then you might have to sweep it more than once. And every time you sweep it, you get another layer and another layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sweep it a couple of times, and then I'm going to go back and see what's still there. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to just work a spot until you know what's really sticking. Okay, so I'm gonna, plus it was a pretty intense layer. All right. All right, this I'm actually gonna, I can tell that this is a backlog. So what I'm gonna do is think of your apple core again. I'm starting at the middle, the heart, I'm going down, and I haven't yet come around yet, but then you'd come back through the top. I'm actually gonna start at the top and do that, and then work my way around the rest of the way, because this feels like a backlog. This is like I want to find out where it starts. Yeah, it was feeling like a heaviness, almost like a dread. It was pretty strong. So, but again, don't worry, we're gonna address it. I'm not gonna leave us there. Yeah, I'm feeling sometimes I just like I can feel like, okay, just breathe, keep breathing. Okay, as I'm now coming down through the crown. There's definitely stuff here at the throat. This is this type of, okay, and then there's, let's see. Yeah, okay, so on that pass, there's basically two spots. There's from kind of the whole leg down, especially on that right side. And then as I come around, it's kind of from a little bit above the throat back to the heart are the two places where it's that cycle of energy is kind of gummed up. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to put markers there because I'm going to come back to these, and I'm going to go ahead and do the arms now because, you know, we've all been in a traffic jam before, I'm sure, but you realize there can be something called rubbernecking. The same thing I find can happen energetically in our bodies. Like as I work other areas, sometimes it just clears it out. Like I don't have to be working on that particular spot, but I will go back and check it. Okay, I'm checking the arms right now. Arms are about, you know, the work of our hands. It's about releasing kind of who we are creatively, maybe through expression, written expression, art, the work that we do. I'm enjoying doing a session with a live session. I mean, even recorded sessions work, but clearly they do. Like, I'm sorry, individual sessions, like there is this timeless now where we're all in it, but there is, I'm feeling, I can feel your presence differently. Maybe that's the way to just explain it. I can always feel who's going to be on the calls, even if it's not live, but I'm feeling it differently with it being live. It's all, I'll tell you what the difference is. When I do a recorded session and people are going to be listening down the road, again, I can feel what's happening, but in this case, it's just, it was something I wasn't expecting. I can actually feel there's a camaraderie and even a participation. Like, I can tell just your presence is helping to facilitate. Because I've learned this, I've been in way too many groups to not know this phenomenon. Like if I get breakthrough in one area and then people hang out with me, they will automatically start to get breakthrough in that area. It's an invisible thing that just happens. There's actually something called the 100th monkey principle, where they've learned, you know, I think I'm going to forget the story, so forgive me, but it's basically one monkey started doing something a certain way, and then she taught the monkeys around her. And then what they realized is after about 100 monkeys learned this, it was on an island. All of these monkeys on islands where there was no physical contact started just automatically. It's like you reached a critical mass tipping point, and then they all started doing it the same way without having been taught. So what's really kind of cool is I think our corporate energy being live and in the session as I'm doing it is creating some patterns. It's really cool. It's just helping to bust through stuff. Okay. The arms actually, if you've ever been on an airplane where it's just a little choppy the whole way, but no massive turbulence, that was kind of what the arms were. I have to say I was a little bit surprised by that because I thought on a money session, there would be more on like the work that we do. Which is often what arms represent, but that actually wasn't there. At least not, not in a way that needed attention. Again, we're sweeping all of it up, by the way. It's all getting, any clog that would have been there is getting swept up. So that is happening. But there was just nothing that was stuck. Okay, I'm going to go back to those places. I'm going to start with where do I want to start? Okay, I'm going to start with the throat. So this was descending energy at the throat. When it's descending, this is going to be where a lot of people think throat energy is, oh, expressing yourself. Yes, it is, absolutely. But it's also about, can I swallow that? That's a bitter pill to swallow. Can I stomach that? It's also, when it's descending this way, it's something that we are resisting kind of assimilating into us. Like, do I really want to receive that? So it's not always about expression. That's one main aspect of it, but it's also about, can I receive it? So I'm sensing just a little bit of self-doubt, like, really, am I valuable? Can I believe that? Can I stomach that? Can I assimilate that into, yes, you can. Yes, you can, absolutely. Because it's your true nature. It's who you are. When you release that, when you release this energy out of you, it's almost like it immediately gets imprinted with information. And what we're going for here is for this essence of who you are. Let me back up just a little bit. A radio station, 100 FM, can broadcast sports, it can broadcast music, it can broadcast the news, it can broadcast classical, it can broadcast whatever you want it to broadcast. Now back to you. When you release who you are, you can broadcast whatever you want on that frequency. You can broadcast whatever you want on that energy wave, that wave of energy coming out of you. What we want broadcast is automatically the belief, I am valuable, I am important, I am worthy, I am needed, I am necessary. And not in an arrogant, prideful way, but just in a truthful, this is who you are. This is who we all are. Because when we release the message of value out into the world, guess what it starts attracting to itself? Things of value. And it's like if you've watched sci-fi movies or whatever, it's like you go into that place and you just, this magnetic pull, all these things that, hey, I'm valuable, I'm going to hang out with you. And then all of a sudden our energy is like a boomerang. It leaves us and it comes back. This is the stuff of sowing and reaping. This is the stuff of law of attraction. This is the stuff of karma, and what goes around comes around, all this other stuff. So if we release value and worth, it's going to attract value and worth, and that will come back to you. It just can't help it. It's what it does. And not only that, anyone that's around you that gets hit with it is going to get a heavy dose of, hey, you're valuable. We're valuable, and it's just really powerful. So I'm here to say, yes, you can stomach that. And here's the deal. let's say you haven't been doing that, because I know I haven't. I've released a lot of stuff. Oh, I'm so small. I'm not important. I've released my fair share of that in the world. When that comes back to me, or if you've been there too, and that comes back to you, then here's the deal. Love it. Like, swallow that too, because it's a part of you. So let's say you worked your tail off on a project and you have nothing to show for it. You weren't honored, you weren't paid your due, you weren't nothing, it just didn't happen. Well, guess what? Rather than being mad or upset or saying, I'm never working with those people again, or whatever you might say, I'm trying to keep it G-rated. The response, if you can do it, even if you just have to choose it, don't wait for your feelings, just choose it. Choose to say, I accept this. And the reason is because it's a part of you that was in that experience. It was a part of you. So if you reject the experience, then you're actually locking a part of yourself out. And it's the part of yourself that you could really use in the future or in the present moment to go out and try to make money again, or bring things of value back. And it's you. So it's just us rejecting us, you rejecting me. So even when experiences we don't want to have happen to us, if we can open our heart, swallow that experience, so to speak, open up our heart to it, receive it, then it's an opportunity to, back to the analogy of our house, if we let a little part of ourself go out into the world, when it's time to come back home, what we need to know and remember is we have a washer and dryer, we have a shower, we can clean ourselves off, we can scrub that, scrub that experience and just try again. Like, we don't have to be afraid of it. Or if you want to go back to the fire analogy, fires don't actually destroy, they just tear down, they just break down. Everything that you threw into that fire still exists. It just exists in a form that allows it to be recreated into something new. So the key from an energy flow perspective is to say, you know what, I released this, I'm going to accept it back, and then let's re-release it, but with a new message, a new set of instructions, a new identity. How about that? That's what we're really going for, is a new identity. Okay, so I got the throat, yay. That, I tell stories to move energy, and it moved. I got the crown. That was the other place at the beginning that was a little gummed up. So those, I'm going to move my markers. Those are done. I got the feet. So now what I'm going to work on is this right leg again. And see what that feels like now that we've done every other part of us. Wow, feels so much better. Yeah, we don't have to be afraid of the future, because we have the power to literally transmute our past just by opening up our heart, opening up our, like, swallowing the whatever we didn't want to swallow it, allow it back into our heart, reprogram it. It's like, reprogram it, say, hey, let's go back out into the world again, but this time with the message, we're valuable. You're worthy, you're important, you're necessary. With the message of money is your helper, money is a tool, money wants to serve you. with a new understanding of money. Some of you may have heard this before, but I don't know, I just feel like I need to share it. When I was recovering from Lyme, which was, I don't want to get into that story because it's a long one, but one of the things I did that really turned the tide for me was I had a conversation with Lyme, just like we've had a conversation with money. And it was realizing that I was putting Lyme in a position of authority over my body. And I'm saying Lyme, Lyme, if for those of you who don't know my story, Lyme disease. I was talking to it because that's what I do. And I said, Lyme, listen, no hard feelings. I have put myself, I was not really understanding or realizing who I am. And when I realized I was putting myself under the authority of Lyme, rather than flipping it, that was what was keeping me sick. So I basically had a little conversation, said, I'm stepping into who I really am. And I'm not going to let I'm not going to let myself, how about that? Take ownership of it. I'm not going to let myself be under your government, your authority anymore. So I actually told it could stay. I said, Lyme, if you want to stay in my body, that's fine, you can. But this is the Margaret Kingdom, so to speak. This is my domain. And if you're going to be here, you have to be here on friendly terms. I used to teach on covenant. So I kind of had a little talk about covenant. If you want to be here, you have to be here on my terms. And if you violate those terms, you're going to have to go. And that was about 6 years ago. And I haven't had symptoms of Lyme since. In fact, I haven't had symptoms of anything. Apparently, I had COVID and I had no idea because I didn't have any symptoms. I found out after I had blood work done that I had the antibodies. I'm like, oh, how interesting. I'm telling you this because this stuff works. So I'm also telling it to shift your energy here. All right, I'm going to switch, and I'm just about it's flowing. I just kind of want to do a couple more passes. This is the part. This is the fear of the future. Like, we don't have to fear the future. We just don't. When we know who we are, when we know our value and our worth, we release that, and we will return, and things of value will return to us. And by the way, things of value, it may be money, it may be other things. And that's actually very exciting because I know some people are into cryptocurrency. I know some people are into precious metals. I know some people are into whatever it is, however you're defining value is what will start to enter into your life in greater measure. All right, I'm using, again, a fork you can't hear. I'm actually really excited about this. Okay, I'm gonna check everything one more time, and then I'm gonna close it up, kind of seal up the work that we did. Wow, you guys, the right leg feels so good. It felt so just gummy. Sometimes I say it feels like you're trying to slog through molasses, but it wasn't even that. It was thicker than molasses. It was just like a bog, but now it's there's nothing there. That's exciting. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to close it up. We started by kind of getting that heart energy opened out. Now or energy flowing through that gateway. Now I'm going to kind of just sweep everything back into that place, back into this doorway. Just make sure all the return energy is open. Now it actually feels really good. Yeah, we don't have to fear things entering our heart. A lot of times people ask me about letting go, like, how do I let go? And when I do a session with them, what I realize is their issue isn't letting go. Their issue is actually, keep in mind, think of a circle, a racetrack. You know, the starting line and the finish line are the same. And they keep saying, you know, how do I release out into the track, so to speak? How do I release this pain or this discomfort? And it's the issue is actually receiving it back into the heart, bringing it back in where it can be transformed and transmuted and healed if it's. So that's why I always end with bringing things back into the heart. Wow, that felt really good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. And the way I close it up is I primarily do figure 8 patterns around the body. I don't have time to get into it right now, but I'll maybe post a video on this at some point. But figure 8s are, it's just, it closes the loop on some of our energy patterns. It's a very, I don't know, it closes the loop on, I'll explain it another time. It's just a very healing pattern. Like if you can see energy or feel energy, we have little figure 8s everywhere. It is that infinity symbol. And when we have a judgment, it's like it's a balancing force. How about that? That's the way to do it. It balances the scales and closes it out. So it's a really healthy, healing structure in our energy field. So I kind of seal it up with that. Okay, this was wonderful. It was beautiful. I'm gonna, yeah, I'm just kind of feeling with my hands now, and it feels really good. It feels very bubbly and alive. It's kind of a nice feeling. All right, so thank you.
Margaret, this has been awesome. I'm going to let you
Yeah.
go ahead and check out the comments while I talk for a little bit.
Okay.
And then because people have appreciated you and there's different stuff that's happening. And then I thought it would be a nice little transition into you being able to kind of share more about what the experience was for you. So for everyone who joined us here today, I'm going to do the marketing and sales side of it because Margaret doesn't really like that part. But she has created an offer for people that were here, and she's got 3 different packages, or you can get all 3 packages. There's a health package, a wealth package, which applies to this call, and then there's a relationship package. And you can feel free to get all 3 of them or just start with one of them. But if this is something that you wanted to do more or use more or experience more, bioenergetichack.com/financial-flow. And I'll put that link in the comment. And if you're watching this video someplace, I imagine it'll be there as well. But that's a place where you can go get an offer for joining us and participating in this experience. So thank you very much for that. And I think that's all I have to say. So Margaret, I'll let you take it away again.
you. Thank you. Yeah, and Joe knows my heart in this. I come at this from being in ministry, right? Like a volunteer ministry. And I just want to get all this stuff out to as many people as I possibly can. And what we realize is this is actually a more cost-effective way than doing one-on-one sessions with me. Plus, it gets it to more people. In a way that I honestly, I'm an engineer, so I love knowing the science. I don't fully understand how all this works, but science is proving that it does work, these recorded remote sessions. So I'm going to take advantage of all that and say, let's do this way. So that's part of why we're doing it, so that more people can have access to it. But I want to do a quick recap of the session. And I'm going to just remind people again, we did shift energy. So be mindful of that. Pay attention to your body. How are you feeling? Drink water, whatever you need to do, rest or go for a run. I mean, it's going to be your call. I sometimes use the analogy of a tub. Like if you pull the plug out of a tub, the water's not all of a sudden drained. Like you might still, some people feel things right away, but you might still be feeling things a few days or even a week or two later. Some people, again, it might be a month down the road and they just realize, oh my gosh, things have changed. So feel free to reach out if you've got questions about that. But I'm glad it's recorded because I do sometimes forget what we hit. But one of the big ones, the biggest one that comes to my mind was that right leg. That is it just felt like we were tapping into a corporate anxiety, a corporate fear over what's going to be happening with money. But it's okay. We don't have to worry about that, because what we're doing is we went in and we just, again, broke up that pattern, but then also slipped in that new message of value and worth and identity. So I would expect big things. And it was really fun doing it corporately like this, because we really carried each other in a lot of places that I know wouldn't have happened if I hadn't done it this way. So that was exciting for me. So thank you. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
It also brings up another marketing sales point, Margaret. She does have a membership group for doing these live recordings. So I've talked to her about doing these recordings kind of regularly for anything that she comes up that she feels like is something that the collective can use. And then for people who kind of want to play with this, like we've got a BioEnergetic TuneUp group on Facebook, and it's a place for people to come and share and, you know, talk about what they're testing and how they're experiencing it and what they're doing, and, you know, kind of our own little research area, because Margaret does like that aspect and data and technical stuff of like figuring this out. But then we're going to also have a membership group where people can come in and they can really talk about this even more at a different level. So, and be part of more group recordings that I get her to put out there. And this is all me just showing up in the moment, and she's probably cringing. So bear with her on this.
Yeah. And the Facebook group is BioEnergetic TuneUp. If you haven't friended me, friend me, and then we can connect that way too, and get you guys in the group, because we'll do more of these. Because my heart in this is honestly to get it out there to as many people as I can. Because what I've realized is I've done energy work and I've done mindset work, and I think the sweet spot in this that I really like that is distinct is that it brings them together. Because the energy work can get rid of those blocked energy patterns and kind of maybe get some of those emotional stuff unstuck. But if you don't also add the mindset work, you can either recreate it or stay limited. If you just do mindset, it can be hard if you've got these emotional patterns still stuck. So again, the sweet spot in this, what I really like about it is you're bringing them both together. And that's why I just kind of jumped into it, because I've studied probably a dozen different or more different energy techniques and camps, and love them all. They're all great. But when you do this together, and I've been doing identity work, mindset work, it's just a powerful combination. There's a synergy there that is unique that I found when you do this type of work. So thank you guys. This was really fun. So the recording will be the recording will be in the Facebook group, and just stay tuned. We'll be doing this again. So bless you guys.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome.